Guys, if you think Sovietwomble and the boys of CF are problematic in Counter-Strike, you can only imagine how bad things will get when they end up in Nam. This is Rising Storm 2 Random Vietnam BS Part 3 by Sovietwomble. Let's get into it.
Napalm in 20 seconds.
Smoke pushing coming. Shit. Oh shit. Shit. Killed himself. Holy crap. Holy crap.
Yep. Okay. Well, actually, this is illustrating perfectly a what's called suppressive fire, or being suppressed, right? We often talk about that accurate fire, right? Lethal fire, killing the opponent, is sometimes almost just secondary to the effect of suppressive fire. And this is getting to the point where there's so many rounds incoming that you, in this case, are unable to return fire. You're pinned down. And this is a great illustration of what that looks like. As you can see, he has to just hide. He cannot peek over the corner even a little bit. His friendlies are gone, so they cannot return fire, right? Shooting back would just incur a tremendous amount of vulnerability, and he can't do it. He is suppressed. When it comes to intimacy, we all want to feel confident, but for a lot of guys, erectile dysfunction gets in the way. If this sounds like something that you're dealing with, you're going to want to check out today's video sponsor, Roman. Roman is a digital health clinic for men that provides FDA-approved treatment for ED. The whole process is convenient and simple. Roman allows you to be evaluated, diagnosed, and if needed, receive treatment for ED, all from the comfort of your home. Best of all, the initial visit and follow-ups are free, and ED treatments start as low as $2 a dose. So if you think that's something that could help you, head over to getroman.com/MHGR and complete your free consultation to find out if treatment is right for you. Oh, and by using my link, you'll get $15 off your first month of treatment. Again, that's getroman.com/MHGR. And thanks again to Roman for sponsoring today's video.
Where do we need it?
On the VC.
Where's the VC?
Everywhere. Also, please note that as a...
Yeah, okay. So that's... Exactly. And his solution is the doctrinally correct one, which is to get down and try to get in reinforcements or something else to delay the enemy. Even just dropping, again, a napalm or artillery strike on or near the enemy's location is going to do something to break up that fire superiority that they have and give you a chance to withdraw.
Squad leader, I am the spawn point, so it's quite important that I not just run in and get killed. Oh, fuck.
I've been engaged.
This is why, of course, the normally you have a succession of command. And succession of command is a term for when a military unit, and this applies all the way up to a brigade, all the way down to a squad, when there is a designated chain that will on which command will fall if someone is killed. So in the case of a squad, you will have your senior team leader, or often your most experienced team leader, take over, and they will be designated, though, prior to the start of the mission. My rule was usually either the most experienced team leader, or if there was a team leader who had a specific set of knowledge or experiences that I trusted. I know doctrinally it's supposed to be date of rank, but I had a few team leaders who were in their late 30s, had been in a different MOS or had a break in service and came back at a lower rank. And so they, or had previously deployed to Afghanistan. And sometimes I would place them a bit higher in the succession of command. It ruffled some feathers, but that's okay. It was okay to me. But it doesn't matter. You have a succession of command, and so if the squad leader goes down, everyone knows who is now in charge.
Engaged.
There must be some kind of way out. I think the VC objected to my singing.
Yeah, what on earth is this? Hang on a minute.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I appreciate them referring to it as a draftee. As you guys know, in the Vietnam War, there was a draft. The draft was done via lottery numbers. So literally every person with a certain birthday would be assigned a certain lottery number. And they would draw those birth dates out of a big spinning ball, like a bingo machine, on national TV. And you would learn on TV in real time whether or not you were going to be drafted into the Vietnam War. And usually there's draftees would report, they'd be medically screened, and then if they passed medical screening, they would be, shipped off to their basic training, but very similar to joining the military now. What was different is that units were entirely assigned to Vietnam. Vietnam was a duty station. So you would be assigned to, for example, the 89th Military Police Brigade. Actually, my old unit, they were a military police brigade assigned to Vietnam. So you would be assigned to the 89th Military Police Brigade, headquarters, Saigon. And this is unlike today, where almost all units have a stateside or at least a peace, a friendly country headquarters. And then individual brigades will deploy to combat zones. So you will say you're assigned to the 101st Airborne. You'll be assigned to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. The Army will pay to move all your things there. You will get either assigned housing or you'll rent housing on or off base, depending on your rank and some other things. And then you'll come down on orders. Your whole brigade will say, hey, your brigade has been assigned to deploy to Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Africa, wherever it is. And then the entire unit goes through additional pre-deployment training in which they train together as a group and then collectively deploy to these forward areas, wherever they're going, perform their mission for the designated amount of time, usually 12 months, and then the entire brigade goes back. Now, you may notice in Vietnam, this system had a lot of problems. One of the biggest problems was that draftees would all be on different timetables. So this draftee here, let's say he just finished his training. He just arrived with this squad. Well, Sovietwomble might be at month 6 of his 12-month tour of duty in Vietnam. Meanwhile, you might have, say, Edberg, who's on month 2, and Cyanide is on month 11. So the person on month 11 is so burned out and ready to go home, they don't have time to invest in this brand new private to get them up to speed. And the result is that you have units that are always having soldiers leave and always having soldiers come in. And so you lose some unit cohesion. The units don't have stable leadership. They don't have stable experience levels. And it creates an every man for themselves sort of mentality. So that's why the military went over to unit-wide deployments, so that units can train together, so they don't have just soldiers with the individual skills, but the units learn to fight as one. And then those units will go overseas, complete the tours together. And while there is a little bit of a loss in experience, right? You won't fall in, for example, on a squad leader who's been doing this for 3 months already. The trade-off you get when you have an entire unit that is already cohesive and has worked together through their training program is a tremendous advantage over the draftee system.
Got fucking...
About how far back you're saying.
It's like, no, please. I don't want to be here.
They're all doing soft.
Bring it down.
I can see the code.
You're inside the wall.
Shit, that laver's nade. That nade is live. What was that? I think I'm having a stroke.
You smelled burnt
Do
toast.
you smell toast? Yeah.
Go get him. Okay. Just trying to stay alive for you guys. Thank you.
So you notice these guys have their rucksacks on as they are pushing into combat. In classic Vietnam War doctrine, you will ditch your rucksack as soon as you are in contact or when you're at what's called an alpha-alpha, an assembly area. And this is because, of course, rucksacks are big, they're heavy, they slow you down. And if you have a secure area or at least a area without enemy activity that's off your objective, it's probably a good idea to just ditch those rucks and get your mobility. You may notice, actually, even in Escape from Tarkov, the developers added this as a a feature, the ability to quickly ditch a backpack in order to bump your speed and agility, and you can go pick it up later. So it's a nice element of realism that they added, but doctrinally that is what you're supposed to do. So if you're spawning in a safe bunker like this, you would want to ditch that rucksack right away. The only exceptions are if you have something in the rucksack that enables you to fight. If you're, say, a mortarman and you have 60mm mortars in the rucksack, or if you have a spare ammunition, or you're a medic with the medic bag.
Fuck that corner.
GIs are dying.
Oh, that's not a great position to be in.
They're not in the camp. Are we we're just making a pile of Americans. Just a pile of dead Americans. That's our contribution. Oh, for Christ's sake.
The good news is they can...
You ever heard of a nade? Damn.
Oh, for crying out loud.
What they're seeing here clearly is what's called a fatal funnel, or a choke point. This is, of course, where you can't maneuver. You have to pass through a small piece of terrain in which the enemy has a good field of fire. And in order to navigate this, right, you have no choice but to expose yourself. And a hallway is one of the worst, because you have to think, if you have, let's say, a 90-degree hallway, look, my finger passes this way. It's hard to line up a shot. But when you're moving this way, look, if your field of fire is the camera, your shot pattern, your sight picture doesn't have to change as I move to and from, especially if you're talking about small distances. And when you're trapped in a hallway, you can barely move left and right. So the result is you could end up trapped in these bunkers. And this is actually one of the dangers of fighting from a bunker, period, is that you end up trapped there. Again, they need to bring in these AC-130 gunships, artillery, napalm, anything to help change this terrible situation they find themselves in.
I was drafted into the Vietnam War and then I died.
The squad leader!
Digby!
What?
Are you blind?
What? Did I just run past one?
You just brushed past the VC and went, excuse me?
No,
like,
I didn't.
You were so
didn't
polite.
even see him.
Good lord.
Soviet, how do I know it's really you? You could be a spy, how do I know it's really you?
There, you convinced?
Ooh, look at that blood splatter animation. That's a good one.
Although Soviet missed the fucking single for how many years now?
Many?
How many?
When was the Bush administration?
Which one?
Ooh.
Quite a bit of...
Guys, that means Soviet has been single since 2008, at least. So that's a good, what's that, 14 years of singledom. You know, that's a long time, and I get it. Dating apps, literally the entire dating app went from being a revolution in dating to a shitty product that's designed to keep you on the app, right? And it's one of the things that's most interesting is that, you know, I got married right as Tinder was just becoming hot garbage. The fact that my wife and I managed to meet on a dating app is truly a miracle. Literally, she had her radius set to 1 mile, but she happened to live within 1 mile of my office. So all this to say is that poor Sovietwomble had these apps where the ability to make a match was seen as good, right? The goal of these apps was to get you off of them. If they succeeded, they put you in front of a really desirable partner. But here's the problem, is that if you're too good, you can destroy your own market by matching up like-minded people with one another. And so these apps have to be redesigned in order to be profitable businesses, which they are. They're all publicly traded companies, or most of them are publicly traded companies or owned by them, right? The last thing you want to do is destroy your customer base, which is finding the chronically single people who want to find partners and finding them partners, right? They don't spend money on your app, especially if the app is so good that it doesn't even require it doesn't even require premium membership to do it. The algorithm just assigns you people, right? It's like, hey, here's this person's age, there's their person's values, here's what we know about them, here's their social network, and here's someone else in their social network, match them up, let's go. Now, in contrast, right, if you you can see it, right? Tinder was really good. People had good reports. Hinge and Bumble, same thing. And then at some point, they become publicly traded companies, and they realized they needed to become they needed to deliver profit to shareholders. So instead of matching people with compatible folks, they engineered the apps to produce anxiety and desperation and ensure that you don't really have good experiences on these apps, but your experiences keep you coming back. Literally, most people now report just using the app, becoming frustrated with the bots, scammers, high numbers of people who just use the apps for validation or entertainment, and then they delete them, and then they come back and believe that they will have a greater amount of success by paying. And of course, they pay, they enjoy a limited amount of success, and then just sort of realize they need to pay more and more. And they become businesses that don't actually deliver the advertised product.
Lag.
Like lag or FPS lag?
I don't know. Is the server shit?
I mean, you're in it, so.
Hey.
Hey.
Wait, there's local chat? Like, voice chat in this game?
I wouldn't do that.
Oh my god.
That's why tunnels are so dangerous. I was killed by Obi-Wan can blow me.
A picture of a hench Winnie the Pooh. That's all I remember of it.
I don't know.
Jesus.
Like I was listening to a new mixtape.
Get it, mixtape fire. I know this is an old joke, but it checks out, so.
Bird, but birds are well, a bird, bird, bird. But birds
You're having a moment.
well, a bird, bird, bird. But the bird is the word,
He's having a moment.
Bird, but birds are
I want to point out that in this, Digby has like 4 canteens, which is actually not that unrealistic, right? 3 liters of water is still probably a little short of what you need to survive in the jungles of Vietnam, especially in the summer, right? High humidity, high heat. You're going to be losing a ton of water. So you need to measure your water consumption in these sort of environments in gallons, not in liters. So these canteens are only going to sustain probably a few hours of operations before you start getting into the risk of heat stroke.
well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird
Can
is
someone
the word,
frag him?
well, a bird.
I mean, I don't want to say I'm like a deity of some kind, but I do literally give people the gift of sight.
You work in Specsavers.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Now, come on.
Well, everybody knows about the bird.
Someone please frag him.
What's weird is that Digby is dressed as an American, but clearly maybe this is Soviets. Oh, Soviets VC. But then how can he hear Digby, who's an American?
You are ruining my immersion.
Unless it'd be seen as like cancelable to have Digby, a white dude, dressed up like a VC fighter.
Hold on to seat. Very nice.
Yeah, barely.
Okay, one of the things I'm going to point out is that this is actually the night sight that this person has up. The M16 has 2 sight settings. One is sort of they call it the night sight. It's a close combat setting that's, you see, very imprecise, right? You just sort of ballpark the lead, the front sight post, get it sort of in the center, and you'll put rounds generally in that direction. But if you're shooting at basically anything over 50 meters, you want to use the day sight. And the day sight is a pinhole-sized rear sight post that allows you to more precisely line up your sight picture with not the, you know how it has the 3 sight posts? It lines up precisely with that center sight post. It allows you to engage targets accurately up to 300 to 600 meters. Probably just 3 if you're not a don't have super good eyesight.
Oh, come off it! Oh my god. Every fucking time I reload my gun, an enemy just appears out of fucking Narnia.
Sound muted.
Oh, the mute button's lovely.
TeamSpeak, I love it. TeamSpeak, baby.
Oh,
hasn't gone
glad
anywhere.
TeamSpeak has that feature.
Sound resumed. Sound muted.
Oh god.
Scout, report in.
Sound resumed. Sound muted.
Really? See if he's finished.
Sound resumed.
Subby, can you get a
Yep,
hole?
already on it.
Yeah, if you could drop a tunnel up there and then
Just give me a second.
Give a tunnel.
Dig a new tunnel? Alright, hang on.
Where's our tunnel?
Guys, I'm going to tell you the Vietnamese squad leader experience. So if you haven't read up on the Vietnamese experience in the Vietnam War, it's a fascinating topic to delve into. There's two great ones. The first book is called Inside the NVA. It's by Inside the VC and NBA by Michael Lee Browning and Dan Clegg. So that actually looks at, they reviewed interrogation files from captured NVA about their experiences, aggregated them into data to help understand the average experience of a soldier in the Vietnam War. Another good one is, God help me, I don't even know, I think it's called The Sorrow of War by Bao Nguyen. And that is a personal account, a somewhat fictionalized personal account by a former an NVA scout, a reconnaissance scout. And all this to say, the Vietnamese soldier did in fact rely heavily on entrenching. And that's because entrenching yourself is the best defense against American air power, right? B-52 bombers would have a vastly harder time killing your unit, destroying your unit, if you were hidden underground. And so the Vietnamese would spend a tremendous amount of time digging fighting positions. But what they would also do is actually avoid combat. Their whole goal was to only engage in combat in times and places where they had a decisive firepower advantage, where they had an excellent reconnaissance and preparation of the battlefield, and control of the terrain. And so that's why North Vietnamese, you would see large-scale attacks, but they would be very, very infrequent. And instead, you were much more likely to see them engage in either hit-and-run tactics or target more easily attacked sites. For example, small outposts from the South Vietnamese army. They were unlikely to want to engage directly with large American troop formations. But the problem is, obviously, it's really hard to find an enemy in the jungle who doesn't want to be found and who is a native of these places. So all this to say, the Vietnamese squad leader experience would have been mostly not shooting, in digging lots and lots and lots of entrenching positions, yelling at your subordinates to dig better positions, and of course engaging in a lot of lessons learned, actually, a lot of self-improvements and like lessons learned after every single operation. They called them, I think, criticism was the translation, and it would be where individuals were expected to engage in a level of self-criticism of their own actions and things they could do better next time, but also as a collective determine things that the squad hadn't done as well as they could have.
Yeah, already on it.
What is it?
I will shoot you.
Mama.
The average Vietnamese soldier, for example, reported engaging with U.S. forces in combat just 1.8 times per year. U.S. troops would report much more than that, an average of something like 3 to 5 times per year. But that just shows how much more active the U.S. forces were.
Where's the tunnel?
I will fucking shoot.
Total Soviet.
I'm fucking...
Soviet, you want to swap out from squad leader?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to continue drinking over here whilst I be in command.
Oh, see, that's why you wanted to be the squad leader, so you can sit there drinking whiskey.
It's just me sat here, just like with a bottle, just in the corner, just going,
God damn
yep,
you,
guys, it's all good.
We're having to run about, and you're just sitting there drinking.
Remember that you can
Yep. Yeah, this is one of the problems too with the draft war, is that you oftentimes have soldiers who are deeply unmotivated, almost resentful that they're even there, and have very little interest in actually doing the mission. And this is, I think, why you saw the U.S. forces oftentimes treat the North Vietnamese with a really high level of contempt, because they resented the fact that they were in the country at all. They had no interest in winning the war in that sense. They literally just wanted to complete their tour, not die, and go home. You also saw a tremendous amount of substance abuse. Sometimes it would be soldiers who arrived in country already with substance use problems, alcoholics, drug addicts, and many more who became substance abusers or whatever, because as a result of being, well, stuck in Vietnam.
deploy a tunnel.
Yeah.
You getting a tunnel down for us?
Can we get a squad tunnel down?
I'm working. I haven't been able to get to a point to build a fucking...
Still waiting on that tunnel.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Well, work harder.
I'm fucking... Fucker.
We need a new tunnel.
I'm putting the fucking trailer. What did you think I'm doing?
Move that shooter.
I don't know whether the Rising Storm devs were being meta, but F is a temple where you pay your respects.
Oh my
Shut the fuck up.
I like it.
Found. Nice.
I believe in you. I'm coming on you. Wait, no. Oh, I'm spawning.
I know it's the weekend, Joy, but
Okay, I think he's rocking an M870 there.
I got stuff.
Looks like an M16A1 because of the triangle handguards.
Right, sorry, I got a tunnel for you now.
Right. So that's actually not a... Well, I think it may be an accurate entrenching tool. They also would use spades to do their defensive positions. Literally like a little baby shovel.
Oh, what on earth am I digging? What have I done?
What have you done?
What? I don't even know how I've managed that. I've dug the tunnel sideways into another dimension.
Non-Euclidean geometry. Get in there now!
Sorry, Harry, go. Someone else.
You just have a... I don't know what it's called in English anymore, I just know Flammenwerfer.
Flamethrower.
Flamethrower.
Do you want to see it work?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't?
What do you think? You made it so easy.
I thought we were friends.
Oh, man. There are no friends. Unfortunately, in the real Vietnam War, it's not clear on what the numbers were, but there were several instances of fragging. This was usually when troops would have leadership that they thought was so toxically stupid and incompetent that they actually put their lives in danger. And so sometimes they would have those leaders have encounters, unexpected encounters with enemy activity that would result in them being shot and killed.
We have friendly fire privileges. You gave me a TK penalty.
Yes,
There are some dumb MFers that show up in the military, and this is the all-volunteer military. Some dudes who I was like, wow, you should just sit down and play with crayons for a while so the big boys can actually figure out how to, you know, screw this cat, execute this mission to standard.
You toxic bin. Take up defensive positions around D.
Around D, that's C. D is the square thing?
Governor's house.
I can't remember this stuff.
No worries. So it goes A, then B, then C.
Okay, this is a terrible position for a couple of reasons. Yes, he is covering this this corner of the road, but laying down in the center of the road with no cover, fully exposed, is a bad idea. Once they see that he's here, they're going to throw a grenade at him, or they are going to lay down suppressive fire. And unlike they, who have cover in the form of this car and this corner, he has nothing. A better position would be over on the side of this wall. If there's an entrance, to get kind of behind that. You always want to take a covered position first. Rely on it. Cover is the best, right? If you can get concealment so that you can't be seen, that may be useful as well. But this is neither covered nor concealed.
No, I can remember the alphabet, you cracked.
Oh, sorry, got it right. I misunderstood. They're taking B. They're on the ground floor. Big time.
Stop firing. Womble off push past.
What?
Cut.
What? I can't hear you. There's a machine gun in my hand.
So this is, well, not a problem for Sovietwomble because he has TeamSpeak. This is actually a huge problem in real combat. It's really hard to hear when you're firing an automatic weapon, full stop, and it's extra hard when you fired an automatic weapon indoors.
Can't hear you. The sound of the ducker.
Toxic. Oh, fuck's sake. Toxic teammates. Oh, for Christ's sake.
Oh, come on.
The commander's on Charlie, and then the last guys are on D point tunnels. Just one enemy.
Did I get him? Oh!
Okay. I'm just going to sit on the screen and wait.
What? First try.
Okay.
Really? Really?
But then I realised he did actually hit me.
Hand-to-hand combat. Listen, guys, in games, it's always just like ha-cha, karate chop action. Even if you stab someone with a knife, right, depending on where exactly they've been stabbed, they could either live for several minutes, they could just not receive a lethal wound. human beings, we can get stabbed a lot of times in non-vital areas or even in vital areas, but not hit anything, and we could stay in the fight. So hand-to-hand combat is brutal because it's not easy. It takes some work, right? So that's actually probably a more realistic depiction of what it would take to butt stroke somebody to death, like 15 strokes, right? You're better off just shooting them.
Well, that's why you have an automatic weapon.
Oh, like an MP40.
What? Let's go kill him. Oh, hello, I found one. Really? 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 Really?
What does
What was that noise?
Nothing happened. There are valuable allies and trade partners, Digby.
No.
I love that.
An ancestor of mine was transported to Australia.
Really? Really? Really?
Yes, this is actually how it feels using that night sight. Like, you feel like you're doing the right thing, but it's just not precise.
Really? I give up. You know,
Soviet.
Fuck this shit! You've let down the cause, Soviet. Fuck this shit! Scout, report in.
Oh, God. So, fun fact, guys. Oh, he's just nading all of his problems away. Okay, so he's actually figured out how indirect fire really works, which is you get a distance and direction for your target, and if you know those things, you can deliver indirect fire on it sight unseen. This is exactly how fire direction control centers work. They receive a grid coordinate, and they have little computers that automatically beep, boop, beep, do the math, and tell you where to point the weapon at exactly what angle, and with what ammunition, and in what direction, and then you can put indirect fire right on target. This is also how mortarmen kind of do their thing. He's even using, well, he's not using a protractor, but he's thinking about it in the exact right way. Grid squares of a fixed distance will help you get, will help you understand exactly how to put indirect fire on that target, and it'll help you navigate too. This is why the military grid reference system can be so much more effective than lat long, is because once you understand that each grid square represents a fixed distance, you can just glance at a map and have a sense of how far away you are from a target. Once you know that, if you're able to know your speed or even your pace count, literally the number of steps it takes for you personally to cover 100 meters wearing a certain type of load or weight, you can, with just a watch, a map, and a protractor, navigate yourself, and a compass, navigate almost anywhere.
Right side, left side, I mean left.
He's showing this is how mortars, this is how effective mortars can be on the real battlefield.
Did they come straight over? I came from Soviet to see someone hit his target. What a pleasure.
You may hit your targets, but I hit my targets.
Well, could you... Wait, do we have something? Is this where...
Well, Womble's got it. Womble's got his try. Womble's got his
6 kills.
Yep, this is what's called dialing in, right? Once you have the grid coordinates set, oftentimes, and Soviet may be doing this and not depicting it, or it may not be necessary due to the game's programming, but in the real world, there's always a little bit of variability to the way things are, right? Different humidity levels, tiny changes in elevation, even just like tiny changes in the manufacture of the specific round means that if you're shooting over a long distance indirect fire, you're going to have to do what's called bracketing. And so bracketing is you make your best guess of where the target is, and often, not always, but often you are off. Let's say you're off by 50 meters to the left. you'll call it in. Someone else will be watching that fire land, and they'll say, "Hey, man, you are 50 meters to the left." So then you're going to swing to the right a little bit, which you think is 50-ish meters, and you're going to fire again. And oftentimes you'll be a little to the right, or you'll still be to the left and you'll move more, right? But that person will walk you in. It's called bracketing, where you go choo, 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 choo. And then finally you've got them. You'll sometimes see it happen. You'll watch it go far left, far right, little left, little right, and then you're right on. And you know when you've got them bracketed that you can drop rounds right into that target. And that is when you fire for effect. That's what it's called. It's called, hey, you don't need to fire for bracketing or for calibrating. You can fire for the effect, which is destroying the target. And so that's what Soviet's doing here. He may not depict when he dialed in the last little bit to make it happen, but now he is firing for effect. He is putting round after round on the same trajectory, racking up kills because he's dialed in the enemy's location.
7 kills.
He's got the
8 kills, 9 kills. Ladies and gentlemen, the rifle grenade.
Alright, this is Soviet's world and we're just living in it.
One of the game chat just said that stupid piece of paper.
Guys, this is great. This was actually my favorite ending to a Soviet video because he ended up stumbling on a almost excellent one-man indirect fire system. This is, again, normally something that's done by 3 different roles that you have often. Yeah, not often, we'll say. You often have, of course, a 3-man mortar team who runs these indirect fire operations. You will have an observer who is looking at the target and helping that firing team bracket their attacks, bracket their mortars, and someone's going to be sitting there and actually doing the math, right, and giving them, saying, hey, mortars, you need to get this angle, this direction. And that's going to put you on the target. So hopefully you guys learned something accidentally about indirect fire operations. If you guys have enjoyed this content, then you want to definitely become a member of Patreon. Patrons get access to exclusive videos and an exclusive room on the Discord. Thanks to our Lieutenant tier patrons, Cole Foster, Command Unit, Caffeinated, Jakob Flavius, Chris, Dr. Shadowcop, Porter World Time, and Brandon Armitage. And also want to come join me on stream. That is twitch.tv/combatvetpaul. Link to all this stuff is in the description. All right, guys, thanks for coming by. I'll see you in the next one.